How's everyone? Welcome to another string review right here on OpenCourt. I'm Kent, and in my bid to try some more nylon multi-filament strings, some softer strings that are not polyester, I'm trying out a multi that I've never tried before. I've never even really looked at this series, so I'm excited to try out a new multi called the Yonex Rexis Feel. Let's check it out. So the Yonex Rexis series, as far as I could find, there's actually 3 versions of this. I'm trying out the Feel, but besides this one, there's also the Rexis Speed and the Rexis Comfort, and their constructions are pretty different, although all 3 share one specific technology called the 𝐴𝐴𝐸, which is this flexible rubber component that has been integrated inside the nylon filaments here to kind of increase the durability. All 3 versions of the Rexis multis come with this 𝐴𝐴𝐸 technology. This specific string, the Rexis Feel, comes with a special rubber polymer that is supposed to increase ball pocketing and thus increase feel, hence the name. All 3 Rexises are nylon based, so they're supposed to be pretty powerful as well as comfortable. The Rexis Feel comes in 2 colors, black and the white. I'm trying out the white color because I usually try multis in that white or natural color because that's the color that most multis come in, so I want to keep the variables equal, so I'm trying it out in the white color, and it comes in 2 gauges, 130 and 125 millimeters. I'm actually trying out the 130 millimeter. I usually like thinner gauge strings, but when it comes to multi, I want them to be a little bit more control oriented, so today I'm trying out the thicker gauge. The reason why I decided to finally pull the trigger and try out this string is because right now, at the time of filming this video, this string is 53% off on Tennis Express. This string normally would cost $23.50 a set, which is very, very expensive. That's more expensive than Technifiber Biphase, but right now I got this string for $11 a set, so I thought, hey, let's just try it out. 11 bucks, what do I have to lose? So if you want to try this, or if you already like this string, maybe check out Tennis Warehouse because they're doing a sale on this, 53% off. This video is not sponsored by them, by the way. So I got the Rexis Feel strung up in my Yonex V-Core SV98. This is the limited edition black and white colorway exclusive to Japan. And I actually, spoiler alert, I actually tried out this string already earlier today, and I was very, very impressed. We'll get into my thoughts in a little bit, but I got it strung at 56 pounds, both in the mains and the crosses, in a 130 millimeter gauge. So this is pretty thick, but I'm trying to go tighter tensions these days because I realize I want a little bit more control with my aggressive game, especially with such a soft string like a nylon multifilament. So I got it strung at 56 pounds. So I have tried this string already. I was very impressed. So let's get into my full thoughts on the Rexis Feel. But before we do that, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button if you guys like this content to keep the reviews coming. So let's start with the pros of the Yonex Rexis Feel. I'm going to say this straight off the bat. This is one of the best nylon multifilament strings I've ever tried. There are a number of reasons for this, but the thing that I noticed that really surprised me was the lack of string movement. The biggest detriment for me when it comes to multis is that strings move all over the place and get stuck when I take aggressive swings. This reduces the spin potential and causes a lot of errant shots. The Rexis Feel played very consistently, and I never felt uncomfortable when I took a full swing. This is one of the few multifilament strings that allowed me to stay on the gas and swing away on just about every point. Since I'm an aggressive player and I like to swing out as much as possible, multis rarely suit my style, but the Rexis Feel complemented my game. This lack of string movement is most likely due to the outer coating. Although many multis advertise a low friction coating to reduce string movement, there were no such advertisements on this string. However, I felt the Rexis Feel did a much better job at staying in place than any other multi I've tried in recent memory. Only after about the second set did I notice the string starting to move a little bit, but I only had to move a few strings back into place and I wasn't after every point. The Rexis Feel also takes a while before starting to unravel and get stuck, so it lasts much longer than the typical nylon multi I'm used to. The spin potential is also very good. Obviously it won't be up to the level of a poly no matter how hard it tries, but I still noticed the diving action on my forehand ground strokes. I could easily hit the ball low over the net with pace and the ball would dive inside the baseline. This is not one of the better spin generating multis I've tried, but it does maintain its level of control through decent spin potential because of the lack of string displacement. Where the Rexis Feel really shines is the power level. This string had so much pop and I loved swinging away on return of serves with this setup. I could really feel the ball pocketing in the string bed when I took a full swing and caught it clean in the sweet spot. I was redirecting fast serves deep into the opponent's court and I could swing the point in my favor. The power helped on outstretched ground strokes as well. If I had to take a running forehand or whipping the racket over my head, I could still get the ball deep with decent pace and it was easy to transition back to offense. The power level helped my two-handed backhand to be more than just a way to rally. When I rotated my hips and plowed through, my backhand speed rivaled my forehands at times. The power also helped me hit powerful serves that my opponents struggled to return. I don't have the longest reach or the fastest serve, so I really appreciate a little assistance with power. The Rexis Feel gave me a boost in my net clearance rate with my slice and flat serves. Those serves have a low trajectory, so I appreciate all the help I can get. The slice flat serve into the body was another serve I utilized often with good results. I personally hate returning serves into the body and it was nice turning the tables on my hitting partners who know this is my weakness. The power also shines on volleys. I have a well-established net game, but I don't really take a big swing or stab at the ball. I usually block it in front and aim for gaps in my opponent's defense rather than trying to hit through my opponents. But usually, anytime I use gut or multi, I get a boost in power that allows me to just hit volleys directly at my opponents and force mistakes. The Rexis Feel was no different. I could also punch low transition volleys back deep. I was surprised at the pinpoint control I had on transition volleys. I was able to drop the volley just inside the baseline, and this has usually resulted in a pop-up for me to attack. This is one of the few strings where I felt comfortable both from the baseline and at net, and I honestly don't know which I liked playing better. As a nylon multifilament, one of the biggest detriments, especially with aggressive spin hitters, is the durability. In my opinion, multis lose playability long before they break because when they start to fray and unravel, the strings don't grip the ball and there is a massive drop-off in control. I never got that with the Rexis Feel. I only played with the strings for 2 sessions, but I am a very aggressive player and I abuse strings quite a bit. The strings never started to come apart during this playtest. Tension also remained stable throughout and I never felt I lost the control I experienced in the beginning. And lastly, the Rexis Feel did live up to its name of feel. I had good touch on my finesse-oriented drop shots, angles, slices, lobs, and precision ground strokes. I felt I could hit every shot in my arsenal from basically anywhere on the court. I never felt tentative going for a high-risk angle on an important point, and even when pressured, I could calmly drop the ball where I was aiming. Although not quite to the level of natural gut, this string got pretty close in feel. One of my greatest strengths is being able to drastically change pace and catch my opponent off guard. One example is hitting an aggressive forehand into the corner, approaching the net, then dropping the ball in the opposite corner by the net. The Rexis Feel gave me the control and precision to pull off both shots with confidence. So now let's get into the cons of the Yonex Rexis Feel. I'm going to be honest, I didn't find too many faults with this string. This is one of the best multi-filaments I've ever tried. To be fair, I'm more of a poly guy, so my multi-portfolio is pretty shallow, but I was very impressed with this string, so all of my cons are small nitpicks. First, the price. Rexis Feel is the most expensive multi I've ever seen with a sticker price of $23.50. I got it on sale at $11, which made it an absolute steal. But honestly, if you're not a string breaker and want something that plays lively with good feel, the Rexis Feel could be worth the extra bucks. I probably won't pay full price for it unless I'm planning to hybrid because it doesn't provide enough spin, especially when the strings start moving. That brings me to the second con, the spin generation. To be fair, this string provides better grip than most other multis I've tried, but it still isn't up to the level of polys. My kick serve was my least effective serve as it just sat up for my opponents to attack. But if I got the toss and contact point just right, I was still able to get the kick serve to dive down into the corner, so I wouldn't say my kick serve was a liability. The slice serve was more of a speed serve and I couldn't reliably get the ball to curve and slide away from the returner after bouncing. But I never felt my serves were a liability either because the Rexis had so much power for me to hold serve without much issue. And lastly, I experienced some issues with my slice game. I noticed a very high launch on slices, and I sent some slices past the baseline that I wouldn't have if I was using a different multi-string. This became an issue in doubles if I had to hit defensive slices because this allowed the opposing net player to pick off my slices with a poach. I also couldn't reliably slice offensively if I was in front of the baseline because I was afraid of the slice sailing long if I swung too aggressively. If I tried to compensate by swinging down more, I would dump the slice into the net because the Rexis Feel has a sticky sensation. This wasn't much of an issue because I was mostly hitting topspin, but I think this string might have performed better in an 1820 pattern for even more control and less string displacement. But that's about it for cons. I was surprised just how much I enjoyed this playtest, and this has made me curious to try the other Rexis multis. So who is the Yonex Rexis Feel for? It's for players who want good power and a lively feel from a multi without too much string movement and unraveling of the fibers. This is pretty hard to find, and the Rexis Feel is one of the best multis I've tried. It is a bit pricey if you have to pay full price for it though, but if you aren't a frequent string breaker, the Rexis Feel could be around for a long time. So now let me hear from you guys in the comments if you've tried the Rexis Feel. I never played with this string until it broke, so if you have, please let us know about the durability of this string because I would like to know. I'm also planning a head-to-head comparison of the Rexis Speed and Rexis Comfort in a future Versus review, so look forward to that. Thank you for watching this review of the Yonex Rexis Feel String right here on OpenCourt. If you guys like this content, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on an OpenCourt.